Clients are like, okay, sure. You have a work-life balance policy at your place. We hired you despite that, like in some cases because of it. It's not hurt us in terms of the caliber of the clients that we've landed. It's all about talent at the end of the day. It's about the talent you attract, the talent you cultivate inside of your agency, and what that allows them to deliver for your clients.
This episode is brought to you by MozCon, the leading SEO conference where you will learn to become a better search marketer. Welcome to another episode of MozPod. My name is Chima Mejo, your host, and our guest today is Paul David. Paul, thank you so much for joining us.
Happy to be here.
Paul is a co-founder and CEO of Literal Humans. Prior to that, he was a freelance writer and content strategist, working with clients like Wise, Submittable, and Content Stack. He also has the best eyebrows in the industry. Today, we're talking about Paul's learnings from implementing a 4-day work week at Literal Humans. If you find anything interesting from this episode, please use the hashtag MozPod to tag us and share your insights on social media. Paul, walk me through the motivations for switching to a 4-day work week at Literal Humans.
Yeah, so there was a pilot program in the UK that started in, I guess it was 2022 at this point. And we were a small agency at that time and still growing. So we figured we could bake the 4-day work week into our agency. So we jumped into the trial. It was six months. And honestly, in terms of motivations, we wanted to have like better work-life balance. And I like to go to music festivals. And so instead of me pretending to work on Fridays and being on some train to Belgium or something like that, I figured why not actually give the team off, on Fridays and have a 4-day work week and try to foster more productivity, more team happiness and well-being. My co-founder Will likes to surf in Cornwall, so instead of him being on the road to Cornwall on weekends or on Fridays, we decided to make the switch. And we haven't really looked back since. So,
how many music festivals have you attended since you've switched to a 4-day work week and you now have Fridays off?
That's the toughest question you're going to ask on the spot.
Because I'm gonna. That was one of the reasons, right? So, how many music festivals have you attended?
Probably dozens, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, Glastonbury.
You went to Glastonbury
last year, was my first year.
Jealous.
Yeah, going again this year. Was lucky enough to get tickets. What else? I think I went to Tomorrowland. Not proud of that one. That one's a little bit over the top these days. Yeah, loads of them. And so, just really, really happy with the change. And I think it's really focused our team. It's made us think about every marginal hour and every meeting, helped us build more systems and processes to be more productive during our 4-day work week. So yeah, I'm really grateful for the change.
So when you were deciding, we're going to join this 6-month trial, what did you think or anticipate that the outcomes would be?
I really, to be honest, I didn't go into it with too many expectations. I thought it would be hard. To be honest, I was probably a little bit cavalier, naive about it, typical man running an agency, I guess. But I realized that we would have to hire the right people who were thoughtful about being productive. And we've tried to do that. To be honest, I think we've found some people who just want to work a 4-day work week, and those people are no longer with us. But the folks who have remained, they're really committed. You can see it. They know that they show up on Mondays and they've just had a 3-day weekend, and you can see it on their faces that they're more relaxed. They've had time to run their errands. They've had a day to relax. They've had a day to party and have fun, and now they're back to work, and they're really focused on that Monday through Thursday. And yeah, I'm really grateful for that. So
you said you were naive. In what ways do you think that you were naive?
I didn't anticipate how the 4-day work week would roll out for different roles, how it would impact different roles in different ways.
What kind of roles?
For example, a project manager. So it's really difficult for a project manager who works across all clients to then just slice off 20% of their week and fit that work, which is a bit different than a writer, for example, or a designer who they're probably not working across all clients. So that's something we didn't think about was, how the 4-day work week would fall, in terms of different roles. So for that role in particular, we had to basically make one of our writers a part-time sort of project manager, content strategist. We had to just add more layers of support and automation and project management systems to support that person to be more productive during the week. We had to really coach that individual to be more productive in their role and support them, take them out of needless meetings, take them off of some client-facing meetings and things like that. So there were some structural things that we needed to think about there.
Okay, so after doing the 4-day work week, let's compare what you anticipated versus what the results were.
Yeah, again, I think I didn't anticipate very much. I think we were so early in our agency journey that I part of it being naive about it was like not really planning that far ahead and saying like, these will be our results from this, but I think I've been, moderately surprised. Like, it's more about systems. I think that the biggest surprise for me has been, how we underappreciated how many systems we needed to put in place just to build the agency in general. And then another layer to make the 4-day work week work for us and for our clients, frankly. So that was, I'd say, probably the biggest surprise is, the need to just build those systems. And you can't just rely on like, oh, we're just going to hire great people and we're going to hire our way through this problem. I think a lot of people fall into that trap of, oh, if we just hire right, then this will work. You really do have to build, unimpeachable systems that can work regardless of the people that you bring in. In terms of like results for the overall agency, frankly, we've made more money and grown the agency every year since we implemented the 4-day work week. So if that's, I think a key metric, I'm very happy with that. Profitability, I think a lot of agencies took a hit last year. We did as well. But I don't think that's down to the 4-day work week. I think there's macroeconomic issues going on. A lot of agencies went under. We were able to attract funding from the largest funder of creative industries in the UK in the middle of, implementing the 4-day work week. So I'm happy with the overall results.
So one of the challenges you talked about was that you were attracting people who just wanted to work a 4-day work week. And you needed to like set up systems. You didn't anticipate how much work that would be. So I was just going to ask, apart from those two challenges, were there any other challenges that you faced when trying to implement the 4-day work week?
I think we probably under-communicated the change to our clients, but that ended up being okay because a lot of clients were very positive about it. Like they were, asking us how do we, the clients themselves, implement the 4-day work week, which surprised us. Like we thought they'd be like, oh, how's this going to impact the quality of your work and the time that you spend with us? And I think we could have done a better job of saying, hey, we're not reachable on Fridays. Like you can send us a message on Fridays, you can send us an email, but we will get back to you on Monday. And we could have just, I think, done a better job of signposting that for clients because we still do get a little trickle there. And also like limiting ourselves. Like it's hard to fight the inertia of the 5-day work week and to literally step away from your laptop on Fridays when all of your mates are working at 5-day work week, agencies and companies. So I've said to the team, like really like plan something for your Friday, like plan to be at a museum, plan to go out with your partner, plan to take a trip. And then we talk about it on our Monday meeting. What did you do with your Friday and your long weekend? And so we try to make it a feature of, our company culture, like try not to work, at least don't do, work that impacts your team on Fridays. You can do async work. You want to work on a document if you want to, but don't be emailing, don't be slacking, don't be messaging clients because that kind of violates the cultural principle that we've set.
This is incredible. It's making me to think about employee well-being. There's a Moz blog we just published around employee well-being that focuses on really, really taking care of the people that work for you and even implementing policies to make sure that they are taking care of themselves too.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of like insisting on people planning something with their Fridays instead of just like, oh, okay, it's a Friday. Oh, okay, I have the day off. But when you now plan something with it, it now becomes more meaningful. Go to a museum, stuff that you can have a memory about, and you just start collecting those memories, like how you've been attending music festivals. And I think this is what work should be like. It should be about balance.
Agree.
That is incredible, Paul.
I think too, like a lot of those policies that you see at different workplaces can be quite paternalistic, like they sort of try to socially engineer or micromanage their employees' time, like different benefits and things like that. And it's like, like, just trust me to like go to the gym on the day that I have off, or like trust me to like, go see my doctor on the Friday that I have off, or something like that. You don't need to give me these special benefits to kind of fit it into a really intense, like 40 to 60 hour work week. Like, just give me a day off and I'll be an adult and I'll take care of that stuff. So I think there's a big element of trust there of like, look, if we just give people more time in their lives, then they'll have greater well-being and they'll take care of things themselves. So.
All right. I'm going back to your question you asked again. You talked about, you still not answered these questions. People coming to your company just for the 4-day work week. And I'm thinking maybe that's in terms of employee productivity. They're not as productive as they should be if it's a 4-day work week. So now I want to know, how did this change impact employee productivity? Because we know it's linked to the bottom line, right?
Yeah. I mean, anecdotally, I think it, increased employee productivity for nothing else other than like, look, we said to people, you kind of make this deal and it's sort of like the, 100, 180 deal, right? So it's, 100% productivity, 100% of the, pay and 80% of the time. That's the deal, right? So we're not reducing your pay because you're working, 1/5 less of a week. But we still expect you to be as productive as you were. So there is some sense of like, you do need to kind of fit a full work week, a 5-day work week into a 4-day work week. Now we've like played with that a little bit. I think some of our learnings have been, we had to really look at paid leave, and we had to basically we realized at some point we were giving like 92 days of paid leave across the year, right? Because we were being
to one person,
to everyone, right? Which is 1/4 of the entire like year, basically.
Okay, hold on, I'm confused. Yeah. 92 days of paid leave.
So if you take like 52 Fridays, right, and then you take all the days that we give people for paid leave plus bank holidays.
Yeah.
So we trimmed that, to be honest, and we give people like 2 weeks off roughly around Christmas, not as part of their paid leave, discretionary leave. We give them about, I think now, like 18 to 20 days of discretionary leave, and they have bank holidays and they have Fridays. So we trimmed that back because we realized we were creating 3-day weeks for us sometimes. Like there were three weeks in May last year where we had 3-day work weeks in a row, and we just couldn't handle it because we couldn't deliver for clients. So we trimmed that back and we just said, okay, we need to moderate our paid leave policy because we have a 4-day work week policy. So it was about creating interlocking policies for employee well-being that don't trash your ability to deliver for clients. And yeah, to your earlier question, like, of course you get people who want to only work a 4-day work week. How do you even
source them out? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. How do you source out someone who is only joining your company because they want a 4-day work week? And how do you make sure that the people you're hiring have the right mindsets required to deliver as much value in a traditional 5-day work week in a 4-day work week?
It's something we've had to get a lot better at. We've done it a couple of ways. One, I think just the interview process. So now we, ask questions that are more about character. We ask them like, what's been the biggest hardship in your life and how did you work your way through it? What's been
LinkedIn stories incoming?
Yeah, no. I mean, what's what another question we ask is like, if you're a manager, like what's a achievement of one of your direct reports that you're most proud of and how did you help support it? Like things like that. They're like, and people are surprised. They're like, whoa, you're really cutting to the core here. You're not asking me these bland, boring, first date interview questions that we all get. So asking better interview questions, having them do a task. We pay people for the tasks that they do in the interview process. As you should. And then just like really digging in and trying to get a sense of like, is this person a culture fit and a culture add to our company? And we're getting better and better at it. We're not perfect. We've had a few people come in that they've churned out at, during their probation period because they just weren't the right fit. And that's any company. But you quickly get a sense of like, look, you're going to have to hustle Monday through Thursday. That's just what it is. It's a 36-hour work week. It's going to be less than your typical work week, but you're going to have to get smarter and a bit braver and more productive about those 4 days. And that's not for everybody.
So do you think this change contributed to a more equitable and diverse workplace at Literal Humans?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the proof is in the pudding. Go look at our team page. We've got one of the most diverse, content marketing, digital marketing teams in the game, especially in London. And so I put our team up against anyone else's team any day. Since then, anecdotally, we've been able to hire 3 mothers and 1 father. We've had, neurodiverse team members who've been able to work remotely and feel safer and more able to contribute in the workplace environment because the social context of the workplace is just anxiety producing for them. So when it comes to race, class, ethnicity, parent status, neurodiversity. I think we're winning on those fronts. So, and I think the 4-day work week has definitely helped that.
Hey there, my name is Chima Meje, and I want to take a moment to talk to you about MozCon, our podcast sponsor. I know MozCon comes with a hefty price tag, but here's why it's worth it. MozCon attracts the kind of people you dream of running into at an SEO conference. I'm talking about decision makers, C-suite executives, and the top marketing leaders in the industry. At MozCon, these hallway conversations are just as valuable as the sessions themselves. If you're aiming to network with senior experts, chat up hiring managers, and expand your circle with high-quality connections, then you will be in excellent company at MozCon. So don't overthink it. Click that purchase button right now. I can't wait to see you at MozCon in June. As an incentive, you'll get $100 off a group purchase of 5 tickets or more. So bring your team to MozCon with you. Grab a ticket at mz.cm/podcast. So be honest. What feedback did you receive from employees about the 4-day work week? We want to hear both the good and the bad.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was a bit surprised. Like people were like a little bit worried, a little bit resistant, like my co-founder, Will, one of them, but like, whoa, like, how's this going to work? Are we going to lose clients? I think some employees were sort of so used to this culture of presenteeism of like, how am I going to, because then they have to really figure out, all right, now I need to be more productive, and you're kind of laying that challenge at their feet and trusting them to do it. So I got a little more friction than I thought on the front end, but I was like, hey, y'all, just like classic CEO shit. I was like, yeah, we're doing this. And like, people are like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And then once we started doing it, people were like, please do not get rid of the 4-day work week. Like, this is effing amazing, to quote Olivia, one of our designers. Please don't get rid of it. And then I think when we tweaked some of the policies around paid leave, and just what the year looked like, we got some friction there because we frankly gave people a lot and we had to trim it back a little bit. And that's where we got some friction as well. But I think the dust has settled now and people are realizing like they haven't left, first of all, and they're realizing this is still a pretty amazing place to work. And they have a 4-day work week still, which is, again, not many other agencies are doing it yet. So you got to keep your employees. Mm-hmm. You made them happier and you've helped them to find work-life balance, because I think when you have a 5-day work week, you kind of be like, oh, okay, I've got time. I can spread this out. And then you have a 4-day work week and you have to be like really super ultra present to get all your tasks done. Yeah. And then go take off your 3 days. And I don't want to say holiday, but that's what it feels like. 3 days is a holiday in the UK. Yeah. And anecdotally, I think we've had fewer sick days, like I'm not tracking it with much precision, but like I've noticed that I think our team, because they're well and they're happy and like your body has time to like, will I say recuperate from all the bullshit you deal with from Monday to Thursday. Yeah. You have like 3 days to just go and take care of yourself. I almost feel bad because I feel like some team members feel bad about taking sick days of the 4 days that they have, right? And like, some people be like, oh, that's good. But I'm like, please, like, take your time. Like, and you shouldn't feel bad just because we have a 4-day work week to take a sick day. Like, by all means, take the day that you need. But I think we have a bit of a culture. Some people will be like, okay, I'll kind of work remotely and just be present, on that sick day. And we really encourage, like, please take the day. Like, we'd rather you come back well, take a full day. Even if you end up working a 3-day work week, fine. Than, showing up sick on Slack and not doing as well. So yeah. So how do you encourage people to give honest feedback? Because I'm thinking it's a little tricky when you're the one who is paying their salaries. Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy. And I think my challenge as a CEO is like, I feel like I don't always get the straight answer. I don't always get the juice that I want from folks. We have a couple systems. I mean, we use a system called 15.5 where people can put, feedback. We also use 15.5. Yeah, I like 15.5. We have wellness check-ins that our head of operations and strategy, Melanie, we call her the people whisperer, that Melanie's put in place where she checks in with people, and she's just the person on the team that everyone feels like they can be straight with no matter what. Even though she's on leadership, she has a way about her that I think really opens people up to her and allows us to get the realness from them. People have an open door on Slack to DM us, as a leadership team, to DM me. My door's open. One-on-ones, We have those regularly with the team. And I think it's just more about like, there's an openness, there's a culture. We had a team member who at the end of last year told us that they felt like we were not living up to our values, and they put that in 15.5 feedback, and that went straight to me. And then we, had a long conversation about, how to fix that and how to make it better. So one of our values is brave space, and we really try to create that, and just like the vibe that we create there. And I'm glad that that thing was a screed, like
I was really, like, that sounds brutal.
No, it was brutal. It was brutal, but it was beautiful. You know what I mean? Like it would like, I feel like a lot of CEOs, a lot of agency heads would be like, oh, this person's fired. This person's out of here. You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, let me sit with this. Let me
swallow
breathe.
Your ego.
Yeah. And like, what is this, sort of midweight designer saying to me, someone who's, I've managed multiple agencies now. And I need to hear them, because they're feeling something, and I can't disagree with their feeling. So I'm glad we have that.
So you were recently funded by Creative Growth Finance. Did the 4-day work week have any impact in conversations?
Yeah, we were really happy to get that funding. We got $400K from Creative Growth Finance. They're like the UK's largest funder of creative industries. Your question, did it have an impact? Not really. Like we thought. Well, I'll say this. I think it actually had a positive impact. They didn't interrogate us on like, how are you going to make this work? And should we fund you because you have the 4-day work week? Honestly, that never came up. But what did come up was they liked the model of our agency because we're unique. So we're remote first, we're like fully digital, fully distributed. We have a 4-day work week. We have very, very low overheads. We don't have this giant office in London that's really expensive that our clients are paying for, things like that. And that's very different than a lot of the other agencies that they fund. So frankly, I think it helped our case because they kind of looked at us, they looked at our books, and they were like, actually, this is something different, something unique. The balance sheet looks good. So let's give them a try.
So I want to move on to the client side of it, because that's the other stakeholder in all of this. You mentioned earlier that you didn't really do a good job of communicating that change with clients. So what have you done differently since learning that from that mistake?
Yeah, I think we've just started communicating it, and just, when we start new client engagements, we have like a clear client onboarding process that includes messaging to them. Hey, we run a 4-day work week. We won't be available on Fridays. You're welcome to send us a message and we'll pick it up on Monday. So I think just like communicating it, number one. I think two, like putting in systems and process in place that make sure that we deliver everything we need to deliver Monday through Thursday. That's pretty simple. I think also too, like weaning ourselves off of being available on Fridays. I think that's actually been harder than clients. The clients are like, okay, sure. You have a work-life balance policy at your place. We hired you despite that, like in some cases because of it, because our bet is that we can be more productive than our competitor agencies with, 20% less of the time. And that's a bold bet to say, especially when you're up against the likes of the animals and all that stuff in the world. So yeah, I think we've met it. Even in the midst of the 4-day work week, we were able to sign massive clients like Aura, big health tech company out of Finland. Shout out to Locke Hughes, the health editor over there. We brought on Payoneer. They're a publicly traded company through a partnership with another agency. So it's not hurt us in terms of the caliber of the clients that we've landed. And I think that's also just part of the natural growth trajectory of the agency. But no one's looked at us and been like, we're specifically not hiring you because of the 4-day work week. So.
All right. So you've also said that revenue has gone up since you implemented the 4-day work week. How long did it take to see that impact?
So we started the trial in 2022. 2022 was a great year. And so we were already off to the races in 2022 for, a really strong year. And you talk to other agency owners, they'll say the same thing. It was just a good year. Macroeconomic conditions were good. And so we took part of that. We took benefit of that. Started the 4-day work week. And then in 2023, we had a better revenue year overall, but profitability was down for a lot of reasons that weren't connected to the 4-day work week, I would argue.
What do you mean your profitability was down when you were making more money?
Yeah, exactly. We had lower profits because for a lot of reasons, we were a growing agency and we were taking on clients that were big caliber, but we didn't have the systems in place, to sort of execute in the way that we, should have been, So we basically took on big clients and took smaller margins because we wanted to build up those names of like Aura, Payoneer, and stuff like that. And that's a strategic move that a lot of agencies make. And so that's even a bit harder, I would argue, when you're doing the 4-day work week. So as we were like honing what our 4-day work week policies were, we were honing the operations of the overall agency. And we made a clear-headed decision. We said, we're going to take on this funding. We're going to, hone our operations this year and take on these big clients. And we're going to climb out of that coming into 2024. And that's exactly what we're doing. And we're on track this year to have a way better year, both revenue and profitability wise. And that was a strategic decision I had to make as an agency leader to say, we're going to take a hit this year so we can get out of this. And I also think macroeconomic conditions were really tough last year, as any agency owner will tell you. So yeah, I'm proud that we navigated ourselves out of that.
Okay. What advice would you give to someone who's an agency owner watching this episode and they're saying to themselves, hell fucking no?
Yeah.
What would be the deciding factor? And you just be like, okay, do this because of this reason.
I would say be a bit braver. I would say, I'm on this earth to fuck shit up. I'm not here to, just run a boring old agency that does the same thing. And, I want to make a difference in the sector. And I want and this is already happening. I get a call from other agency owners maybe once a month in terms of how do you get such a diverse team? And how do you implement the 4-day work week? That's the kind of impact I want to have on my sector. I don't want to just do the same old. So be braver, try the 4-day work week, but also implement it in the midst of other policies as well, other processes. So implement 15.5. So you have a positive performance management system in place, implement systems like project management systems like Asana or forecast.app. So you can forecast your work and really understand the workload that your employees are under in a condensed week. Put in place well-being policies that help people get to the gym, or we use More Happy, which is a coaching service where every single person on our team who wants a personal coach, we give it to them. It's about 25 quid a month, and they can get access and talk about anything they want for their well-being. I think if I had to do it over again, I would think a lot more about the systems and processes to make the 4-day work week as effective as possible. So that's communicating to your clients, internal systems in terms of project management and time management, connected to other bits of employee well-being like coaching, like More Happy, or like 15.5, positive performance management. Bundle it all together into one package that's going to create the best possible context for your talent. Because that's what it's really all about. It's all about talent at the end of the day. It's about the talent you attract, the talent you cultivate inside of your agency, and what that allows them to deliver for your clients.
So what would you say has been the biggest benefit if you were trying to convince another agency owner to go for the work week?
Yeah, I think it comes back to that talent piece. The biggest benefit is talent. We've been shocked by how much high quality talent has been able to attract us, because, and I don't want you to read me wrong, in some ways it's definitely attracted some folks who just on the real don't want to work, but it also attracts highly productive, thoughtful people. You get the cream of the crop, because they're you know what, I can do in 5 days, or I can do in 4 days what I've been asked to do in 5 days. And I've got other priorities in my life. And frankly, I'll take the person who wants to spend more time with their kids and is shit hot at content strategy than the person who just wants to, faff around on their Fridays, because that person, that former person, knows that they can deliver in less time, and they can be smarter, more productive, more collaborative with their teammates with 20% less time in the work week. So it's a healthy challenge for the right person. And then inside your company, obviously, as I've said, the employee well-being benefits are really clear. Fewer sick days, more productivity, more focus. I see the team, they look at their calendars every week and they're like, I can take that meeting off, and do we really need this? That's great, because you want that coming from your team. Right now we have a rule that's we don't have more than 2 people on an external calls. If it was a 5-day work week, we probably wouldn't have that rule in place. And a lot of people would be wasting their time. It's hundreds of hours a year. So yeah, I'm really glad about the talent implications of the 4-day work week.
What are you most grateful for right now?
In general, in life?
Yes.
I think I'm most grateful for my partner, Monica, who,
Shout out to Monica.
Shout out to Moni. Moved over here from Mexico for my crazy ass. And, it's just, it's an amazing support. And it's just there when I have all these, this thing isn't working at work, or this client or something like that. And, we're chatting over dinner or something like that, having some wine. And she's just there. And that makes a really big difference in my life. So
I'm glad you found somebody.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. That's it for today on MozPod. Thank you to our guest, Paul David, co-founder and CEO of Literal Humans. Paul, Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's really good to be here. Thank you, Chima.
Don't forget to use the hashtag MozPod to tag us on social media if you found anything interesting from this episode. This episode was engineered by Saul Fox, produced by Chima Meji and Joe Cameron, and our YouTube footage was filmed and edited by Sarah Galpin. Remember, curiosity did not kill the cat. It just improved the search rankings. Bye-bye.